All right, Governor Dan McKee's in studio. Governor, let's talk about this. Obviously, the big thing is this offshore wind project, right? You spoke to Governor, excuse me, well, I'll say Governor Burgum, but Secretary Burgum,
Former governor,
last Friday.
on Friday. Yeah, I know that's the first conversation we've had on this issue on the Revolution Wind, but I've had conversations with him reaching out on just general energy issues that we agree on, right? We're an all-in strategy, whether it's wind or whether it's a gas line that might potentially come to our state, or we passed legislation this year that we can actually buy some of the excess nuclear from Connecticut. So the biggest thing that's happening right now, one of the biggest expenses, Matt, is people's frustration with their utility bills.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a moment in time for us to explain why utility bills are high and why this project is going to hurt our ratepayers in their pocketbooks. A 10 cents per kilowatt cost on a 20-year agreement is going to create some level of stability as it electrifies 200,000 homes or more, 350,000 on the whole 700 megawatt system that's in place. This project is in place. I mean, I've sent letters to the PUC and the DPUC saying, hey, that these energy costs, we got to figure out any way that we can take advantage of it. We should be making an announcement shortly that about $150 million is going to be provided in terms of rate relief over the next 2 years by calculating a formula and advancing the reimbursement to the state in a way that's going to help. But this project should really disturb anyone in Rhode Island that is continually talking about these electric costs. And I'll just add to this too. Look, Rhode Island doesn't have an oil well.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have a gas line. I was on a call today with the NGA
National Governors Association
Chairman, Governor Stitt, Oklahoma. Oklahoma has the sixth largest resource of natural gas. Over 50% of their electric is covered by their natural gas, and 41% is covered by wind. So when you
onshore wind, though, right? You're talking about Oklahoma.
It doesn't matter. Wind is wind.
One is cheaper.
Huh?
One is cheaper to run than the other one is. I mean, it's more. We talked to we talked to the CEO of Rhode Island Energy about this. He said onshore wind is way more reliable and cheaper than offshore. But
they have land that can put this onshore wind.
I'm just saying. It's different animal.
All I'm saying is that it's the same type of a renewable source. It's just located differently. And the cost may be higher to put it in the ocean, but that's our backyard. So when I'm talking about 41% of Oklahoma's energy is coming from wind,
mm-hmm.
we have an option to do wind in a way that helps us. So why would we say, oh, that's okay for Oklahoma, but not okay for Rhode Island? Our ratepayers don't have an oil well. They don't have an energy source. They don't have a gas line. And those are the reasons why our prices in this region, in particular Rhode Island, I continue to try to contain the cost. And I think we're doing better than Massachusetts and Connecticut because of that. But we should be irate. Like the ratepayers in the state of Rhode Island should be so ticked off. This project is 80% complete on the wind factor and 90% complete on the transmission lines that have already been laid in the bed of the ocean that have already come up on our shores.
It seems wasteful to stop it now when it's already been done. What did Secretary Burgum say to you? Is there any sort of indication that there's a deal to be done, that there's an openness to this? You seem to tell Channel 12 yesterday that you think that they don't realize how far along it is.
I don't think they understand. They certainly have questions about the transmission line, which is a big part of this.
He
whole
had
project.
Questions about that.
He didn't understand that the transmission line was in place. It was already on the bed of the ocean and already coming up on our shores at Quonset, and with 10% left with some level of connections to actually transfer this power into our grid. 700 megawatts of energy into regionally, into Rhode Island, into the area. ICO, which is the organization that kind of determines a lot of whether this makes sense, they're really concerned that losing that megawatts is going to create a problem on our grid to actually not to avoid blackouts and other energy type of.
They did put a press release out about that.
Yeah,
but here's the thing: you say 10 cents a kilowatt. 10 cents a kilowatt is what they're locked into for a 20-year contract, right? Orsted. Is it Orsted?
Yes, Orsted, but the contract is with Rhode Island Energy and the developer.
Okay, so that contract between they have a standardized. That's not going to be directly. That's not what the people are going to pay for their supply. The people are that's going to be added into full supply of energy that Rhode Island Energy has to go out and find from various sources. Assuming it's going to be from there's some legal mandates that you have from the Act on Climate that they have to get some from renewable, but then the rest is going to be natural gas. So at the end of the day, the Rhode Island people are not going to pay 10 cents a kilowatt.
This blend will take care of 20 to
So,
20.
so you finally admit it's a blend.
No, I've never said it wasn't a blend.
Okay, all right. So,
So the
people
blend,
don't say that when they talk about this.
It'll electrify about a little over 200,000 homes in the
Right.
state, and then it will be about 20 to 25% of our energy needs through this project.
Right.
At 10 cents a kilowatt. Right. So this is favorable to a state like Rhode Island, and it's going to really impact the ratepayers in a very severe way in terms of the the idea that we're stabilizing some of these costs. Besides the fact that we've invested millions and millions of dollars in apprenticeship programs to train people at CCRI, partnering in with Eversource, partnering with Orsted and the unions to train people, and then we're building things in Provport. We're creating an economy, a piece of the economy that we're not going to rely on just like we did on 38 Studios, but this is a chunk of our economy going forward, in particular in the blue economy, where we are expanding on a rapid rate. And this is a piece of that effort.
With the issue you mentioned pipelines. This Constitution pipelines we've talked about this in the past. This was brought up by Jack Reed in the news as some sort of a deal that was made, or some sort of something that was done with where there was release of funds for a wind farm in New York State, if there was approvals or some sort of quid pro quo or something to that effect with regards to the Constitution pipeline going from Pennsylvania with it. Are you open to putting whatever sort of pressure you can on Kathy Hochul or any other governor? Because I got to tell you, Governor Healy has bragged, I think, as Attorney General, this videotape of her talking about how many pipelines she shut down. It's a bragging point for people in your party to shut down pipelines, which really raises costs for people, especially in New England, because not only do we use the natural gas for electricity generation, we use it to heat our homes.
Matt, I'm already on record saying that if you bring me a gas line, we'll certainly take a serious look at that.
Yeah, that's not. What about advocating for it?
No, we are advocating for it, but the conditions have to be right. Right. We also have to make sure that it's going to lower our costs or stabilize our costs, like this Revolution Wind project. I'm on the record. We've talked to Secretary Burgum. I've talked to an administration about this. I've been an advocate for ways that we can control our costs for energy in Rhode Island. There's so many things that we have going for us, right? In terms of people investing in our state. We had an investment with Androl the other day, a billionaire from California, 150,000 square feet, building unmanned submarines. Or Regent, 250,000 square feet there, or Organogenesis in Smithfield, $100 million investment. We are bringing in businesses, but can you imagine if we could stabilize our cost on our energy, what that would mean to our economy? It's a major step.
It would be great. I don't know. These are projections that I don't know. I don't trust them. I don't trust the projection. You got 20 year. You had a 20-year contract. Which, does that contract continue if somebody else takes over and sells these wind turbines?
Of course. I mean, Rhode Island Energy.
Rhode Island Energy.
They're not amateurs on this. Look.
Well, they don't care about the cost of energy. They pass it on to the consumer.
They care about the.
They care about the transmission. They care about their infrastructure. They care about their profit side is on the transmission side. We all know that. We're a lot
better off with Rhode Island Energy than we were the National Grid.
Okay, fine. That's fine. I'm just saying.
And I was talking to their CEO yesterday. Yeah. This is absorbing a great deal of my time, and it should. CEO with Rhode Island Energy, a call from Pennsylvania. They want this to happen, and they're trying to help us make it happen. Or Orsted, we've been in conversations with them. Heck, I've had conversations with the ambassador from Denmark, who is very concerned about this. And wouldn't you be concerned if billions of dollars have been invested? A company like Orsted is estimated they've invested over $20 billion in this country in terms of these renewables, and then to have permits removed after they've been approved, and then construction that is actually done, virtually complete, and then they're going to shut it down. What does this say to any business that might come into the United States in a way, or any business that's currently here that would invest in something, whether it's in renewables or whether it's in manufacturing, or what the heck it might be, and all of a sudden we're just going to shut them down. This is really serious issues This is, I knew that I would be taking a stand at some point in time against actions by the Trump administration. This is the one that is going to impact our jobs. It's going to impact our economy, and it's going to impact the pocketbooks and the wallets of the people who live in this state. So to me, I'll go through any measure, and I'm going to really push hard to meet with the president and share with him the status of this development that I'm not sure they're completely clear. This is not like what I was talking about with another project with the South Wind or one of those. That's not in the ground yet. This is in the ground, ready to go, and it's ready to help electrify over 350,000 homes combined between Connecticut and Rhode Island, and it's going to help on the megawatts that you need to actually keep the grid going without so we can supply the energy and all year round, whether it's in heat or whether it's in electricity or whether it's in our air conditioning. The people of the state of Rhode Island, my message as governor, we should be really, really upset about a stoppage order like this. And yet we have some people who are like celebrating somehow, making a celebration out of this. It is hurting our state. And as governor, I'm not going to just stand here and take it.
Well, I'll tell you why, because they see what they look at their electric bills and they look at their utility bills, and all they see is extra charges for green initiatives that they don't take advantage of, that they don't have anything to do with. And that when you're looking at your electric bill, and the last time you looked at it was, you're seeing the delivery side is way more than the supply side. They don't see the supply as a problem. They see the delivery side, which is 20% in Rhode Island. You talk about the CEO of Rhode Island Energy. He tells us that about 16 or 17, 18% of that has to do with green energy initiatives, taxes, fees, things that folks like you in the government can control.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the energy efficiency you're talking about, heck, I've been the biggest advocate about that whole process, that we provided a exclusive right to the energy company to manage that piece of the bill. 140 some odd $1 million, and over $40 million was going to the energy company in terms of management fees or guaranteed.
No, I'm talking about mandates that are required for the people, the ratepayers to pay to go into initiatives that people can take tax credits and stuff like that for solar panels. This is the
energy efficiency account that goes back in to provide energy efficiency, programs.
Right.
But I went in there and said they shouldn't have an exclusive right on that. We actually went out to bid for that. I'm suggesting, in one of my letters to the PUC, my letters to the Department of Utility Commission, you need to lower these costs. So we are projecting to lower that energy efficiency cost because our ratepayers need some level of relief. It's artificial relief. It's the areas that we actually can control. But Revolution Wind is an area where we can sustain a long-term lower cost than we're currently paying. And it's being shut down. So when you talk about those things that are arbitrary on the bill, yeah, I want to lower the cost for the energy efficiency, and I think we will. I want to make sure we spread out some of the savings. We'll have about $150 million of savings to the ratepayers over the next 2 years by accelerating some of the depreciation
for a couple
that's
of months,
going on.
Right? It's going to be 2 months a year.
No, we're going to go. It will. In some cases, it'll be year round.
I thought there was. Remember, the one I'm referring to is we talked
$150 million in Rhode Island. The big headlines in Massachusetts was $50 million. They got 7 times the amount of people in that state than we do. That's like over $1 billion of relief if it was in Massachusetts. Right. I am focused on this issue, both as a lieutenant governor and a governor. I'm telling people right now that this project,
right there for me.
This project is ready to go.
More about it. We're going to talk more about it when we come back.
You know that I'm excited about it.
You're very excited about it because I want to talk about the strategy.
I'm not excited because I'm happy.
I know what you mean. You're animated.
Yes.
We come back, Governor McKee will talk more about the strategy to deal with the Trump administration on this and whether or not you're getting help from the delegation as well. That's next. All right, Governor McKee, what is the strategy then? You want to seek an audience with the president in the Oval Office. You said, did you reached out toward via the chief of staff, Susie Wiles?
We called directly. I don't know whether we got to Susie, but we got to the White House and made the request probably on Thursday of last week. Friday we made the request again with Secretary Burgum. I talked, like I mentioned today, the Oklahoma governor, Governor Stitt. He chairs the National Governors Association. He's going to also try to intervene. Us governors stick together, whether the Republican or Democrat, by the way, and that's why I think it's so important to belong to those organizations. I would have done the same for him if it was a reversal with the Biden administration. So I think there's going to be reach outs. There's clearly going to be the president is clearly going to know that the governor of the state of Rhode Island would like to speak to the president about this very critical issue for the people that live in our state.
What is the delegation doing about this?
They're back channeling as well. I mean, they participated, as you mentioned, in the press event that I put together last week. They're also back channeling into their own network, just like I am with governors, with senators, and reps. So I think that most people see what you saw. It just makes sense if it's complete, do it, and if there's going to be a halt, then halt the projects that are not fully invested and that are ready to actually get online.
Do you get a sense from either Senator Reid or Senator Whitehouse or whoever, those two I mentioned because they probably have more seniority there, especially Senator Reid, that there is an option here, that there is something that's on the table that's going to be, like a political trade of some kind for this?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any trade-offs that are being asked for. I mean, clearly, take a look at each offer if we can move forward and then weigh out what's in the best interest of the state. I've had personal conversations with Governor Hochul, who was a lieutenant governor when I chaired the lieutenant governors. The conversations, whether it's with Democrats or Republicans, whether it's in Congress or whether it's in the leadership of governors, that's important. Tools to be using, and we're using everything we can to really impact a quick start up again of that project. I know that Orsted has filed lawsuits.
Mm-hmm. The attorney generals,
which they have no choice. The attorney generals are exploring that. Look, I'm not looking to get into a legal battle with the administration. I believe that common sense makes sense, and this project is ready to go, and it's in the best interest of the people in the state of Rhode Island to get it. And by the way, it's in the best interest of this region to add that 700 megawatts of power into the grid. We got very close to summer during that really warm season that we may not have been able to provide all this energy that needed for the air condition that was needed to keep people healthy, right, and comfortable. So my strategy is as it always been, and I attended the dinner with the Bidens last year with the National Governors Association. I attended the dinner this year with the Trumps. So my job is to figure out what to do the best we can for our state. I know that the best thing that happened on this issue, as I said, for not only for the working, the labor, the jobs, the economy, and the ratepayers. That's who I'm really interested in. The ratepayers have an advantage here, and I want them to know that this is something that, regardless of whether you're sitting at the table that I got the 10 seats, whether you were happy with the election, 4 seats are happy, mm-hmm. 6 seats weren't. I don't care what seat you're sitting in. Everybody is going to benefit as a ratepayer if we're able to bring more energy sources into the state, including the wind, including a gas line.
Is there a way that we can give people immediate relief right now? I'm thinking about people come up in the winter. I know we talked about a little bit. I think they're going to get a $40 credit. When I spoke to the CEO of Rhode Island Energy, it was some sort of payback that was coming as a result of the deal from the sale from National Grid to
that's that $150 million.
Yeah, but they were going to spread it out over 20 years, like 40 cents a month, and they're going to consolidate it.
That's
he
correct.
Told me over 3 months, I think, or 2 or 3 months,
over 2 years.
For two years, but a
3-month
span, I believe.
I think there's going to be an emphasis on the winter,
like $40
because the winter has been higher than the summer rates historically over the last several years. That's fine. And I'm the one who asked for it, right? So I'm the one who sent the letter.
I'm not talking about long-term relief. Is there something a tax relief or something on energy that can give people relief now?
No, let's talk about the reality why you need this Revolution Wind to actually operate. The reason is Oklahoma has the 6th largest natural gas resource in the country. They have the 6th largest oil resource in the country. They're using wind. We're being denied using wind. So the issue is that the capacity to lower rates, we're doing everything in our power to do that. Mm-hmm. In fact, I don't even think that the Rhode Island Energy is getting it to its highest level of profit, allowed profit right now. Look, we're doing everything we can. The people in this area, there's many reasons why this is a great place to live, but energy is not one of them. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to change. And so when you unless you bring in lower cost energy. And this is what's at stake right now for the people in the state of Rhode Island. And that's why if I was them, and they have direct connections because they happen to be really supporting of this current administration, I ask them to call the current administration, give us the energy relief that we're entitled to and the ones that is available to us, just like the gas in Oklahoma or the wind in Oklahoma. This is where we can help stabilize some of our costs. And it's really a shame if it's taken away.
You just said a few seconds ago, and I don't know if this is widely known, that you said we almost couldn't make our capacity in this area for electric demand as a result of the
grid
heat wave?
was definitely overloaded.
What time frame? Because I don't remember hearing this in the news.
No, I think that there was certainly the ISO and others reported that we were getting close to our maximum ability. We had the problem down in Newport 7 years ago, or whatever it was, where the gas capacity didn't allow us to actually provide the heat that Newport needed. Look, this is not a failure of the energy company or the failure of the state or the failure of a division of public utilities, as some people want to put it on. This is the fact of the matter is that Oklahoma has a gas resource. Rhode Island doesn't, right? Oklahoma has an oil resource. Rhode Island doesn't. So just like any other product, if you need to ship it in some form, then you're going to pay more. And that's exactly what's happened. Look, I know this business pretty well. We're in a small business. We're in an oil business that provides heat over the last 60, 70 years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We secure in a very small way. It's not a big business, but we buy contracts during the summer, anticipating the cost being higher in the winter, and we try to blend it all in. This is no different. It's just a bigger scale of the work that I'm talking about, but I do have knowledge about how this works. And we're a victim of the fact that we don't have energy resources that other states have. And I don't think that the current administration really recognize it. I think they look at a broad energy strategy and assign that equally to every area of the
they're trying to promote
the country.
American-made energy, and they probably look at. I don't know why they don't call this American-made. It's built in America, but it's a foreign company, whatever. But they're looking at natural gas is right here in our backyard. Let's use this.
But it's not that. It's not in our backyard.
It could be in our backyard.
It could be if they would bring a pipeline in, but that's years away, and it's worth working on today. But I'm just saying that yes, they are looking at energy different than what is the reality that we're living with here in Rhode Island.
What is your take on the fishermen's point of view on this? They say they think that they've been left out between you and Governor Raimondo. They're left out of the whole. Their fisheries are being impacted. They're right now. Their lawyers down in Washington meeting with Doug Burgum too, asking him to do more.
I think that
to shut down more of them.
Everybody who was against doing it, and in anything you do, Matt, I think you realize that you're not going to get 100% buy-in on anything you do, and there's always give and takes, right? There's positives and negatives. Everybody who was against it, whether they didn't like the idea that from their backyard they didn't like to look at the landscape that way.
This is an industry. This people's living is on the ocean. This is like my view.
We're investing in the fisheries. We put over $40 million into the docks and gallery.
Why are they against it?
Huh?
Why are they meeting with Doug Burgum?
I think that again, if they are against it because they feel as though it restricts some of their fishing areas.
That's their business.
But it doesn't restrict it to a level where they can't do business. That's already been settled. We've already worked our way through all the permitting process, all of the efforts in terms of whether it was good, bad. I'm against it. I'm for it. That's already been settled. Now they get another bite of the apple, and that's all that's happening. And as I said to Doug Bergman, look at the very people, in some ways, that are going to push back against this wind. All right, are they going to be the same people that are going to push back against bringing a gas line into the state?
There'll be other people. There'll be other people that will do it. They won't be the same people.
There'll be a combination, but some of them will be exactly the same. So, but in the end, my job is what's in the best interest of the majority of the people that live in this state, and making sure you're weighing in the issues that impact people. In this case, that's all been debated. It's all been settled, and we should just understand, the people in the state of Rhode Island understand that this is not a good thing, again, for jobs,
If
for the
you
economy,
were there at
and
the
their
beginning of
wallets.
this, would you have been a vehement proponent of it at the beginning, before all this, to invest in all this, to be involved in all this? Do you think wind would have been the answer? Or would you have been more for a pipeline?
No, I think it's a combination, Matt. We need
Well,
multiple.
now that it's here, I understand it's here. It's invested. We want to build it.
We need to use our resources that we have. We're on the ocean. Yep. We're using the ocean for our defense industry, for the blue economy. We're investing in URI's Bay Campus because we want to make sure that there's more and more jobs in the blue economy. We need to take advantage of the resources that we have. Mm-hmm. So if we can bring in other resources, this is a multi-tiered strategy. That's why I put legislation in this year and talked to Connecticut about potentially using some of their nuclear excess. Mm-hmm. And now we can actually purchase that. And through our Rhode Island energy, in fact, there is energy from the nuclear. So this is an all-in strategy. Anybody who thinks that it's just one thing and nothing else, for Rhode Island, we need every single option that can pay a benefit to us.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We come back, we'll get into the education part. Since it's the first week of school.
Yeah, that's something I'm very excited about.
In a
good way.
A new attendance policy.
Yes,
I think is a win for you. I think it's a big deal. I think we might even need to go further. I have a couple questions about that when we come back. Stay right there. Great. All right, Governor McKee, I know we only got a couple minutes left here because there's never enough time. Attendance matters.
Yes.
You kicked off another campaign for the other year. It's been successful. It's increasing. We still have 20 some odd % of the state is chronically absent.
A little over 22.
Yeah.
Down from 38 since I've been in office.
That is incredible. But you know what's funny, as I was thinking about this, the commissioner came on with Jean the other day, and she talked about the hot spots in terms of the heat map they have of the schools. You can see when the patterns happen of absenteeism, and that may lead to chronic absenteeism. She said it's the weekends and holidays, which tells me it's not like an economics thing where people are staying at home because they got to take care of their brothers and sisters. It's a values thing. Have you ever thought, and is there any plan to get involved with truancy when it comes to people who are chronically absent? I know the Providence one doesn't want to go that way. They had attendance coordinators who actually a whole team of people went out and intervened in people's lives, whatever. But when you have a situation where people are just deciding that school's not important and they're chronically absent to the detriment of their children, is there a place for truancy courts and truancy officers to be involved in your mind? Of course,
but I can tell you that it's better to do it the way we're doing it right now.
Which
means that we're putting a tremendous amount of attention on attendance. We're bringing in on a Learn 365 plan. We're including our municipal leaders in this because municipal leaders talk to every family. I'm a former mayor. And we're also combining strategies, out of school strategies, Matt, that are going to help what happens inside the schools. We're seeing it already. We've closed the gap on reading by 34, 35%, or 38%, I think, or something like that. And from Massachusetts on our reading, 18% on our math. We're opening up these learning centers that's going to create a culture change where in every home, every day, learning matters. And what we're doing on the attendance by tracking it on a live tracker that all your listeners can go to, and they can see and compare chronic absenteeism. You mentioned about, going down and see your old high school knocked down and build a new high school down in Bristol. You're saying that like nostalgia. You got.
I know. I want a piece of it. I want to get a brick or something like that.
I think they should give you one. Maybe they'll sell one for 10 cents. But when you bring everybody into the mix, and now we're showing. I'm saying publicly everywhere I go. Look at if your child or your student and your family is feeling well, they should be in school. No excuses. Mm-hmm. If they're not feeling well, then they got to keep them healthy. But if they're feeling well, and we're seeing this right now where we've lowered the, I think we got like 3 million more school hours now since we started the Attendance Matters program as part of the Learn 365. When you start opening these 20 plus learning centers that are under construction right now in communities all around the state of Rhode Island, you're going to create this culture. This is what I see, my vision, that education and learning is fun. And that it should be year round to support what's happening in the schools. Now, if you're able to create that culture, families are getting it. They need their kids in school. You're hearing it everywhere I go, in a real sense.
How do you know families are getting it? What do you see to
so
make that happen?
So I'm in Smithfield, for instance, the other day, and we're talking about the learning center that's going to open up in the town of Smithfield. They've been under construction for about a year, taking an old community center that was not being used. And there was families there, there was kids there, there was teachers there, the town administrator was there, the superintendent was there, and they're all very aware of what we're doing on Learn 365. So they're becoming more and more aware that we're committed to create strategies to help municipal leaders improve their opportunities for their young people that live in that community. I'll tell you one quick story. It'll take me 30 seconds. So in that meeting, they had this young girl. She might have been about 8 years old. And so we were passing the mic, asking us questions about how this is going to work. And so she said, I got a question. Then when we brought the mic over, she said, I forgot my question. She was like 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went away. She said, I remember my question. And she said, she got the mic and she said to me, is this going to be fun? And I says, it's going to be a lot of fun. Learning is a lot of fun. And if we don't make it fun in the out of school strategies, then we're not doing our job. So when you start creating young people talking about, is this going to be fun? And then participating, it'll be a culture shift in the state that is needed for years. And it will, and it's not a fight. People are actually together on this issue. I was in Newport with 40 people last night at a meeting. I'm going all around the state talking about this. This culture change is an economic change for the state as well. So as we get closer and closer to Massachusetts, and we'll get there by 2030 if we stay on course, our incomes and our families are going to increase, which is the second part of our 2030 plan, right? And we're also going to be healthier as a result of having better education strategies as a foundation in the state. So I'm excited about that in a very positive way. On the win, I'm excited about that in a very let's fix this thing way, but we're going on the right track in the education right now with the commissioner and with the partnerships that we're developing with our municipal leaders.
What is the next step in terms of getting in front of Trump? I got 10 seconds left here. What's the next step?
Well, first of all, he's got to accept my ask, and we're going to do everything to make that happen. And then we're going to continue to work with his cabinet members and also anybody who has an influence over the Trump administration to kind of educate them the fact that this project is underway. It's almost completed, and it's an advantage to the people who live in our state. And as governor, I'm hoping that the president respects that position that I'm taking.
Governor, thank you for the time. Appreciate it. We'll see you next month.
Okay, Matt. Thank you.
Governor McKee, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out of here. Dan York shows up next. I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Bye.